parts of the show. We're coming up to the Clint Initiative podcast Bible bracket. And I want to give folks a little idea of what that Bible bracket
is. What is a show Bible? A show Bible is a document that outlines the characters, plots, settings, and themes of a television series. Writers pitch show Bibles to network executives and production companies in the hopes that it will produce a production agreement. Well, with the Clint Initiative podcast, we do streaming content, we do movies, we do music. So, for our productions, we have a Bible, and that Bible will be previewed here on the show.
Okay, so you see we have our bracket up there, and we also have another comment from Jolanta. She's in the running to be the top fan already, Katie. She said, I invited my community from the Chatter app. That is fantastic, Jolanta. Thank you so much.
Good going, Joe.
Yeah, it just gives us an opportunity to show more people what we can do. And now we have our Bible bracket for this week. Our two competing ideas, as it were, or films. The first is Shelter in Place. You know, the unknown can be very scary. And sometimes when events happen, you get a shelter in place warning. So wherever you are, wherever you find yourself, you have to shelter in place. And when you do that and you shelter in place, you discover who you're sheltering in place with. But the unknown is the scariest thing because you don't know what you're sheltering in place for until you know. And that's what shelter in place is all about. It's about the experience of a group of people forced to shelter in place. And then they discover things about themselves and things about the people that they're sheltering in place with. And that's what shelter in place is all about. With our society today and the way things are happening, you never know when you might have to shelter in place. And that's what that's all about. The next one. What child is this who lay me down upon? What child is this?
And we know we're not talking about Jesus Christ.
We're not talking about Jesus, but we are talking about...
That sounded like something creepy.
But we are talking about... Well, it is a little creepy. Because with what child is this? When people go to the hospital to have a child, you never know whether they gave you your child or not.
Oh, no.
This is a story of a family who goes home with a child that is not theirs, and what they go through and their reaction when they find out that the child that they have is not theirs. That is a heavy situation.
I already make my pick already.
That is a heavy situation for anyone. So both of these are very heavy things today. But like anything else, I've presented them. Now we want to discuss them. So I'm going to come to each of you guys and I want to have you talk about the two ideas. And then using our rating system, we're going to say whether it sticks, whether it needs more work, or whether we can forget about it. I always try to come up with strong ideas every week. And just like with the random questions, I'm opening it up to my co-host and I'm opening up it to the audience. If they want to come up with ideas for us to explore, go ahead and submit it. If they want to come up with things for us to consider, go ahead and submit it. Our email address is TheClintPodcast@gmail.com. I'm waiting to see what your ideas are. I always have ideas and things I come up with. Just like this week, we've got our shelter in place and what child is this. But I'm going to go to Katie first because it's ladies first. So, Katie, when you think about shelter in place and what child is this, what are your thoughts?
Um, I think the one that gets my attention the most is the child in place. Eso se pega. Se pegó bien. It just sounds so interesting. It just to like imagine what the family will go through, especially like when they already are developing some love and then it's not your kid. So it would be interesting. But I also don't want to forget about the shelter in place. I think that could be very interesting and like very complex. Just the child just kind of caught my interest first.
Yeah, and when you think about shelter in place, as a production company without a lot of budget, shelter in place can be done on a shoestring and the impact can be tremendous. But what
Yeah.
child is this is also the same. What child is this can be done on a shoestring budget as well, and the impact can be more than tremendous. So, Trent, I mean, Clement, hopefully I made it more hopefully I made it more complicated for you, but this is our discussion period. So what do you think of the two ideas?
The one that sticks to me the most is what child is this? That one sticks. The other one, what's the name of it again? Shelter in place.
Shelter in place.
Yeah, it's we could work on that one, but the one that got my imagination going is what child is this?
What
It
child is this?
yeah,
Absolutely.
it
You bring
sort of like bring back memories of a old sort of like a sci-fi horror that I look at called I think it's The Village of the Dam, when they brought home their kids and there was something weird with the children and
Oh,
there was there's
yeah,
something
so
kind of supernatural weird.
yeah, so that's the amazing thing that with this show we can actually go in either direction. But the one thing I love about what child is this is that it allows us to show that some kids are just so darn lovable. You don't want to let them go. You know, it's like when a baby bird is born and that mother bird or that child imprints on that parent so they always know how to find it. Some kids, they just have a way of imprinting on adults, and you just don't want to let them go. You will always be a part of their life, even if you're not their parent. You'll always be a part of their life. And then there's always the supernatural part. So we have so many different directions that we can go with this.
But when I
So
hear what child is this, it didn't sound like sweet. Oh, like what? It's so like, what child is this? That's what it's like. What child? That's not my child. What? I didn't get the sweet side. I get like, what child is this? That definitely ain't my child. I didn't get that sweetness.
So there's Jolanta. Yeah, Jolanta, we don't have Jamel today, but before the show ends, I'm going to play again the short that he sent us so that he could be a part of what we're doing, and that was fantastic of him to do that. The amazing thing is I didn't even have to ask him. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to before I announce the winner this week, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show all of our previous winners. And for the people who are just listening, you want to go to our YouTube channel and check it out and see what we have coming up on the show and in movie theaters soon. Okay, those were our previous winners. And our winner today is, what child is this? But in order to add a little bit of surprise, the winner is also Shelter in Place. Shelter in Place. And what child is this? The more I thought about it from talking with you guys, we can do Shelter in Place over a weekend. We can make Shelter in Place happen over a weekend. We can film all the different possibilities, and we can film it all in a single weekend. And we already have our stars. We already have Jamel. We already have Katie. We already have Clint. We already have me. We already have Jolanta. We already have Jasmine. We already have Dante. We already have people that we can call on, so we can do Shelter in Place in a weekend in our sleep. So